Well, hello. I guess first I would just start with saying how long I've been in this business working. I've been working, I will be 40 in January, and I've been working in this business since I was 8 years old. So I've been doing this more than I have not been doing it. I love what I do. I'm grateful for the talent that I was blessed with. I started out you know when you watch TV shows and there are two main characters talking in the scene, and then behind you see people walking, like say it might be at a restaurant? Well, those are called extras, or atmosphere. So my very first time ever being on TV, I was doing extra work or atmosphere. And that really gave me a sense of what it entails for an actor to do a television show, because I was there to, you know, even though I was the extra and that was my job, I was able to observe everything that, you know, takes place from, you know, how early they have to be there in the morning to studying their lines, you know, how they would interact with each other in front of the camera. So I was able to pick up things at a very young age. So that was very helpful. I went to acting classes. Is anybody familiar with the show called Different Strokes? It was a long, long time ago. Well, that was the first show that I did the extra work on. And one of the actors on there who played Willis, his mother, his name was Todd Bridges, his mother Betty Bridges, she also had an acting school, and I started training with her. And from there, she would put on productions, and something like this, you do a play in front of an audience, and that's how I started becoming a more seasoned actor, if you will, more familiar and more comfortable with myself playing someone else. And then from there, I got an agent. I auditioned for an agent, and they started sending me out on auditions, and cut to 30-something years later, here I am. It was just kind of a progressive thing that I never stopped pursuing.
Sorry, I just have a question about any theater experience. You did theater acting as you were growing up as well. How did you find the experience from transitioning from theater to film?
They're definitely different, you know, mediums. I mean, theater is instant gratification, you know, because when you're doing whatever piece, you know, there's certain points in each piece where either the audience is supposed to laugh or supposed to feel emotional, sad, or, you know, angry with your character, and you know by their response and the energy whether you're executing the right way. So I would say theater is very rewarding because it's immediate. And you don't get an opportunity to do something over. You know, if you do forget a line, you got to keep going. You got to, you know, be like a cat and land on your feet. And I guess I wouldn't say that I'm a thrill seeker. You know, I wouldn't be one to jump out of an airplane, but I do like to, I love the feeling of recovering, you know, of like, you know, oh my God, we just almost didn't get it right, and then you see how you did that, and you said this instead, that was great, the audience loved it. I love that feeling, you know.
Probably want to ask this question now, because now that you're on that topic. In scripting, do you find a case where the actor always has to know the script verbatim, or do they have a chance sometimes where they have to improvise?
Oh, definitely. And it depends on the situation. You know, you could be working with some directors or writers that do not want the dialogue changed at all, and they want it to be word for word. That is frustrating as an actor, because some words don't flow out of your mouth as, you know, like my favorite word might be, you know, if I'm talking about something is good, you know, my favorite word might be awesome. You know, the next actor's favorite word might be great. And if I'm talking about this water, oh my God, that water was awesome. Great might not work as well for me. That water was great. So every time I get there, I'm gonna kind of jinx myself because that word is just not one of my natural buzzwords, you know. And some writers, you know, I want you to say great, you know, and you have to roll with that.
Pleasure to see you in person.
Pleasure to see you too.
I was thinking of your work in Ray, and I was asking about the range of emotions. If you're doing film and you have a range of emotions that you go through, how do you transition from one to the other? Because obviously you're going to be shooting at different points. If the director doesn't let you, how do you build again once you reach that peak and then you have to be?
You know, honestly, it's different. It depends, you know, like because as you said, things are shot out of sequence. Mm-hmm. So you're taking an emotional scene that'll probably be the only scene that you'll shoot that day that'll be filled with emotion, unless there are a lot of emotional scenes that take place on that set. You know, because there's some days you might end up with 3 heavy, hardcore scenes because you're in that location for that day, and once you guys finish that location is broke down and you're not coming back there. So using Ray, for example, sometimes you're anticipating doing the scene so much that the first take, you're like a excited dog that can't wait to go on the walk, you know, and then once you put the leash on, they start pulling you. You're like that, so you kind of, I've been in situations where I've just given too much on that first take. And, you know, the director will come and say, okay, that was great. You let that go. Now give it to me. And then the next take, you know, is the better take. But usually, if you haven't executed it in the first 3 or 4 takes, it's not coming. It's not going to happen. You know, when you hear, you know, directors or people say, yeah, the director did like 15 takes. If the director did 15 takes because he was trying to capture a certain emotion, either he's not going to capture it, or he already captured it in the 3rd take and he'll find that out once it gets to editing, or he's doing 15 takes because there's certain type of, there might be something physical that needs to happen at a certain point in that scene that he's trying to make the 2 things happen simultaneously and it's not working right, or it was a prop thing or a light went out. Usually when you hear there were 15 takes, there were other things that have to do with that and not so much the performance.
And you spoke about auditioning for agents. How easy or difficult is it to get opportunity to audition for agents?
They're very difficult to get the opportunity. That was a rare situation because, like I said, I went to the acting class academy of Todd Bridges' mother, Betty Bridges. Well, because she was his mother, she was very much connected to a lot of agents, and she was also became my manager. So because of her relations, that's how I was able to audition for an agent. But most of the time, there's no such thing as auditioning really for an agent.
Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't exist. It's kind of difficult to get an established agent when you're a novice, because there's so many people that want to do what we do, you know. So usually how people get an opportunity to get an established agent is either they were able to get a part in like an independent project, or they were doing a play or something like that an agent was invited to and got a chance to see their work.
Okay, I have 2 questions. And one, you mentioned just now that you actually started acting from the age of 8. I want to know when you exactly knew for sure. Would you say that you were born to be an actress? And the second one would be, at this point in your life, would you say that you get the respect in Hollywood as an African American actress?
Okay, first question. I feel like, yes, I do feel like I was born to do this. I do. I did not realize that I was born to do this probably until maybe somewhere around like 19 years old that that was confirmed for me. What was the other question prior to?
If you said you would get that you get the respect now
Oh,
presently
the
as
respect now. I thought there was one in between those two.
No.
I do feel like I get respect, but see, when you come to that question of color, I would say, do we get the respect in any industry that our contribution to the arts garners? No, I don't think so. So, but I am very grateful for my journey and my career, and I think I've had a wonderful career, and there's so much more to go. You know, I still feel young in this industry. So, you know, I think that overall, I think people respect what I do, and I feel it all the time, everywhere I go. So I don't have this feeling like, you know, Rodney Dangerfield, oh, I get no respect. You know, I don't feel like that. But, you know, so I think it's two different things. I think I feel the respect, energy-wise, universally, but I don't think people of color are respected in our industry or others as much as we should be.
Okay.